Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Two Broken Thumbs, the only podcast where you get to hear about two young white men talking about movies.
Yep, you can't find that anywhere else.
Nope. We're gonna push
Literally
the
nowhere.
boundaries.
We're breaking new grounds, folks.
uh, my name is Cole. Obviously, you guys know I run the channel this is being posted on. And I don't really need to explain who I am. I'm literally nobody. Just a man with an opinion. And over here we have my good friend James. James, like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi, I'm James. I also have opinions and am nobody at all.
Good. Don't plug any of your stuff in. That's fine.
I have a YouTube channel that I dump League of Legends plays in that are too big for Discord because Discord limits you to 8 megabytes, and if any of my plays are longer than 15 seconds, that means it's too big. I also have a Twitch that I stream on maybe twice a year when I feel the urge to, usually because I am really tired or drinking or
Well,
both.
or just both.
Yeah,
Well, that sounds very fun. But we're not here to have fun today. We're here to discuss movies,
yep.
the art form that has been ignored by the public masses for so long.
Yeah, no one watches movies.
And today we're
It's
going to
not a
talk
billion
about
dollar
the
industry or
best
anything.
movie.
We're talking about The Rise of Skywalker today?
we can. We could. We could. Let's talk about the entire Star Wars canon, all of it.
All of it?
That'd be a fun episode to do.
I have a few things to say.
I have a few choice words for some choice people.
Well, we would need to start with figuring out, is it what Disney calls canon or is it what I call canon? Because those two things are very different.
Are very very different. Yeah.
Yes.
Although that depends, James. Do you want Knights of the Old Republic movie to be made?
Um, I don't want Disney to make it or
But
the current Lucasfilm.
or anyone to touch your favorite property.
It's just that's some of my favorite story, and if anyone touches it, they'll break it, and I don't want it to be broken.
they'll break my favorite toy.
Not only will they break it, then somebody on the internet is going to tell me that I don't understand it and that's why I don't like it, and then
Oh
I'm
no!
going to lose it.
They're gonna pull the old "you just don't get it, it's art," and you're gonna be like, "Oh, don't worry, I get it."
I mean, they tried that with The Last Jedi, and I was like, okay, well, at least we all went into this at the same time. But if someone who knows nothing about the Old Republic tries to tell me about it, I'm going to get it angry.
Well, let's make you not angry. Let's talk about the actual movie we're talking about. We're
All
talking
right,
about a film that got two Oscars.
two
Um,
Oscars. Ooh.
yeah, it got two Oscars for best, obviously best lead actor and best sound or best score. I think it was. Let's see what
Yeah,
else we got here. It was directed by Todd Phillips, who is very questionable with people because he also did the Hangover trilogy
yeah.
before this movie, which very much surprised me.
hmm Yeah,
Um,
he's quite versatile, I guess you could say.
yeah, that's a word to describe it. But
Uh,
yeah, we're talking about Joker.
yep.
It's a movie I actually want to talk about for a while because there's a lot I want to say about it. There's a lot of good things about it, but there's also a lot of bad things. It's not. I think over time, my opinion of the movie has definitely decreased slightly. I still think it's fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong. I think it's a very well put together film, but I definitely still think it's good. I just, it's hard to explain.
I kind of get that. So,
It's
do you want to like run through it or?
yeah. Let's run through this. The plot synopsis, or is what you're saying?
Yeah, we could do that.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. All right. Well, so there's a guy called the Joker, and he lives in a society. And
As we do.
as we all do.
hmm
And the society he lives in is in the 1980s and 1970s sort of point in time. And it's basically an origin story movie for a guy who doesn't have an origin in the comics. Um, Arthur Fleck is, just your average guy trying to get through life. He has a mental problem, and everything sucks for him. And just everything goes horribly wrong in a few days.
Well,
He loses, well, yeah,
he Yeah, he seems like he's already having a pretty rough time, and like we just keep seeing it pile on, you know?
Yeah, and eventually, like he snaps and he loses it, and we'll be getting more into detail as we talk about it. I'm just trying to keep it as vague as possible for spoiler-free stuff,
Oh yeah.
um, because I know some people might not have seen it for some reason,
Well,
but you should.
if
It's
that's the case, you should see it.
yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. I mean, it's definitely better than most Marvel movies that have come out recently. Um, it's
Yeah,
better than the recent DC movie that came out as of this recording.
it's it's not like a very conventional like a comic book movie. It's not, you know,
No,
action
yeah,
packed
no,
or
it's not like action packed. You know, oh, let's fight these things. Ah, man, I need to talk about my character right now. All right, gotta go fight these other things.
right. It's very much a character study in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
which I absolutely love. That's the one of the when the trailer first dropped for it. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, I legitimately was excited for it.
Yeah, I remember because I had heard, you know, there's a new DC movie coming, and I of course was like, oh, excellent, another masterpiece on this universe. And then I heard it wasn't going to be part of the DCU, and I was like, oh, okay, well, all right, that could be
Yeah,
interesting. And then I saw the
yeah.
trailer, and I was like, oh, this could be
This
very
does look
good.
yeah, this does look interesting. But part of me kind of really wanted it to be the Jay Leno or Jared Leto,
Jared Leto.
where it's Jared Leto telling the story, and I would have loved to. I want to cut of this movie with him instead of Joaquin. Like, I
That
know it would be terrible. I know it'd be absolutely terrible, but like, oh my god, it'd be funny.
I'm starting to support the movement that every actor should have to do a Joker movie.
What is that a thing?
Yeah, it should be. If it's not,
Just like
just have every actor
Scarlett Johansson
has
is
to
Joker.
be Joker in a movie, and we can just compare them all that way.
That'd make our lives so much easier. uh, but anyways, so we're gonna talk about our opinions of the movie. We're talking about where we think it stands on our fake meter because our thumbs are broken, so we can't properly rate anything.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's good. That
yeah.
means
What?
that if we give it a rating that you
It
don't
doesn't.
agree with or is inconsistent with the reasons we give in other movies, you can't blame us.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Our thumbs are broken.
because our opinions are invincible due to our thumbs being broken.
We can't play any more video games.
Yep. You can tell my
So
thumbs are broken by the way I play League.
they've broken because of how much you have to carry.
I no, it's because of
Anyways,
how
but
terrible I am.
well, let's talk about some of the aspects of the film. Let's start with cinematography. Definitely think it was well shot. There are definitely a lot of memorable scenes, a lot of scenes where you're sitting there going like, "Damn!" And the constant use of stairs throughout the film, and the shots being taken from a stairwell or with a pair of stairs in the shot. I always like that because it's consistently suggesting something, and I'm sure if you've seen the movie, you understand what it's suggesting. But some people don't. It's very interesting to me.
Hmm.
Do you know what it's meaning, James?
Well, now that you mention it,
It's a pretty
I can definitely picture it now. Are you thinking like a descent into a certain state of mind, perhaps?
yeah. I was gonna say both descent and ascent. I mean, we see him going upstairs, struggling up the stairs. You see him forcing himself upstairs. I mean, the only time that he was able to really go up anywhere was on the elevator, and even then, he was clearly miserable.
Yeah.
Um, and then in the like when he finds out about his mother, so a spoiler, I'm not say what about his mother, but when he finds out information about his mother, he's once again at a stairwell. When he leaves work, he runs down the stairs. It's a lot of stuff like that that makes me really appreciate the film.
We could do
Just little, yeah.
we could do like a red letter media thing where we like talk about it for a while and then we say, all right, spoilers from here on.
Okay, yeah, we do that. I'm trying not to talk about spoilers because I know there's a lot of this movie that you have to unpack. It's hard to talk about a lot of it without spoiling it. So I'm trying to find the things that are important to talk about that don't ruin the plot.
Right. So
Um,
yeah, we can just like go as long as we feel like we can, and then once you feel like we've capped, like, all right, we got it now to
yeah.
go further.
Uh,
So yeah, just what else?
and apologize to anyone. This is our first time doing something like this, so it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, that's why it's episode 1, yeah.
Yeah, it's the pilot. It's our
Don't worry.
pilot for
When we hit episode 100, which is going to be a 24-hour stream, of course, it's
what?
going to be fantastic, and we're going to have guests. We're going to have YMS,
Whoa!
we're going to have Jeremy Johns, and it's going to be great.
Oh my god, that's so many people.
Two.
I was imagining maybe one person. You're throwing a wrench in here, James.
Nah, we gotta.
Or Shizaki.
We'll practice over time.
We'll get better over time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about stuff that doesn't spoil a movie. Characters. One of the things that biggest complaints people have about this film is that every other character besides Arthur is one-dimensional. Would you agree with that?
I think I could agree with that.
I would too. There are several factors to why I think that is. I think there is good reasons behind the film of why it is, but I definitely think some of the characters could use more. We didn't really get to know much about his mom. Like, we knew one thing about her. We knew one thing about the girl. We knew one thing about the guy who. We barely know anything about. Oh God, who played the guy on Saturday Night Live? We're just calling him not Jay Leno. We're gonna call him Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy Fallon is a very one-note character, and he was just a terrible guy. But like, we never really got to. I mean, he seemed nice, like outside of the like on stage and whatnot. But like, I think it was just at that point he just didn't care, and he was sick and tired of everyone.
Well, I think you could. I think he'd probably be your best character to try to extrapolate more out of, just because you get like hints of it here and there, like during the climax of the movie. He's and they're going back and forth. He's saying like, you don't know anything about me, and you can see when he's not on stage, like he's just like everyone else. He's just trying to get through his day, and
yeah, absolutely. He doesn't realize what he's done. He doesn't realize who this person is. He just thinks, oh, he's just another guy, just another person. He doesn't know that. I mean, yeah, no, can't get into it. But I think some of the characters are weak. I definitely think the weakest of the bunch is the shorty guy.
yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I think him and the other guy are good at showing what they were supposed to show during the scene, but other than that, I didn't really feel anything for them. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool. It's just a-holes. That's nice character development.
yeah. I mean, the short guy was nice to him.
Yeah, that is true. That's why he got out. But like the other guy, I was like, I kind of see why you're in the film, but also you kind of suck.
Yeah, I think I'd agree.
So let's see, what else are we going to talk about that isn't spoilerish? James, do you have something?
Well, let's see. We hit characters, we hit camera work. We should probably save the plot for spoilers.
Yeah, there are some bits I want to talk about the plot that involve spoilers, and the story that's important too.
All right, if you wanted to do themes, that would probably be easier afterwards too.
Ooh, yes. Let's themes now or after.
Maybe both.
Yeah.
How spoiler free do you think we can go?
I think we talked briefly about some of the themes that like the earlier in the movie setup, which is definitely just a lot of everything sucks.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The movie opens with he's like listening to the radio, and they're saying like trash is building up in the city, and
oh my god, that's such a good opening. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's really solid. Like he's getting ready for his day of work, and like the radio it's all like doom and gloom.
Yeah, he's putting on. He's just every other guy just trying to get through the day, but he's trying to put on that smile.
Yep.
Just Jesus. Sorry, there might be some construction work being loud in this episode.
You see, we're a traveling podcast, so today we're in a construction site.
That's another cool thing about us, that we travel.
Yeah.
Every episode we're in a new location.
Next week we'll be in a rainforest.
That sounds great. You just sit outside of your house.
Right.
Oh, there's an
I,
iguana.
I I definitely won't just generate some audio for that.
Oh, that'd be great. But anyway, sorry. Backtrack themes. Yeah, no, it's just a lot of about how everyone sucks and everything sucks, and I think another good theme is just paying attention to people. I mean, the whole film is literally about how he feels like nobody knows who he was, and as the film goes on, people start to notice him, but it's not for the reason that he wants it to be, but he accepts it anyways because he accepts the new role he's taken in life. I think that was pretty vague enough.
Yeah, I'd agree. Another
Because
one, I think the main one probably is just like being nice to people and like accepting
oh,
of
absolutely.
other people.
Make sure people are talk to people. Don't just fucking walk across them on the sidewalk because they can be going through a tough time too.
Right. We're all in this thing together, sort
Yeah,
of.
it's definitely James. Remember, it's definitely about how people who have mental disabilities should go around shooting people because that'll solve the problem. That
Oh,
it will incite riots, and that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway,
I,
James.
I thought the theme was that
Remember,
it's bad to
that's
be an incel and angry and white and a male.
it's true. It's terrible. It's all
That
those things are terrible things. You
that
can't be any of those things.
that's what the news told me.
And the news would never lie to me
Well, as we know, when it comes to authorities on film, Rotten
on
Tomatoes and the
facts.
news, yeah, on general life facts.
Oh my god, that was one of my favorite things about the whole outcry of this movie. Was I came home from the theater looking up some things about the movie, and there was an article. I don't remember where it is or what it was or what who made it, but the article basically said like if you take away the 1970s faux design, if you take away the trash, if you take away anything that if you strip it down to its main components, it's about how white men should kill. And I'm like, yeah,
Yep,
you can make that with
that's
any
it.
movie. Let's strip away let's strip away all the fish from Finding Nemo, all the water, and it's about a guy stealing stuff that he shouldn't because it belongs to nature.
That's
Yeah,
right.
screw that one guy.
Well,
Like,
as you know, in The Lord of the Rings, Aragorn is white, and my god, does he kill the orcs, which the orcs happen to be of a darker skin tone. So do with that what you will.
man, what a racist! Honest to God.
Do you feel the ground rumble? I think Tolkien just rolled over in his grave.
Oh, I'm sorry to wake you up, Mr. Tolkien. You gotta help make the Hobbit
I
series.
am so
Remake the Hobbit.
sorry.
Is that what I heard every time I saw that movie? Was the sound of stop?
Please stop.
Please free me. It's like a weekend at Bernie's, but it's a movie theater with J.R.R. Tolkien. They're just carrying his corpse around. Come on, JR, come on, we gotta make this new movie.
Don't you like this remake of an older thing?
Say hello, JR Tolkien, kill me.
Stop.
Oh man. But yeah, no, that was one of my favorite things. And then you know what happened? You know what happened? Nothing happened. Then Frozen 2 came out and there was a fight.
Right, there was I have two friends in the military and they said that they were told by their higher ups to not go see the movie because there was too high of a chance of there being like a shooting or something.
Really?
Yeah,
What the
which is
hell?
like I don't that's almost insane to me. And there was nothing, right? Like
I mean,
no shootings at any of the showings or anything?
for Joker? No.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot of suggested like so the reason why, for those of you who don't know, that was a whole thing was I believe during the Dark Knight, was it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, during the Dark Knight, there was a false reporting, well, not false, but partially incorrect reporting of a man going into the theater dressed up as the Joker and killing a bunch of people in the theater. But in reality, he wasn't dressed up as the Joker. He was just dressed in clown garb. Like, it looked nothing like the Joker. He had like face paint and like a red afro. Um, but the news media decided to say no, this was the Joker. Someone dressed up as the Joker and killed all these people in this theater, and it's a travesty, and people are terrible, and you shouldn't take your kids to go see this movie about a mentally unstable. You shouldn't take your kids to see that movie anyways. Like that's definitely something you shouldn't be doing. That is definitely a darker movie. That you shouldn't be taking your kids to go see no matter what. But the point stands, that's the whole reason why there is this whole thing anyways, is because it happened once, so it means it's going to happen 1,000 times.
Right. And as anyone who saw both movies knows, The Dark Knight and The Joker are very similar in almost every way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly the same. Remember how they went into their detailed backstory of the Joker in The Dark Knight?
Yeah.
I definitely don't remember them
I
like
think he
purposely
talked
making
about how he got
it.
his scars twice, and I think it was different ways too.
Well, that's because they were trying to point out, it doesn't matter who he is. Like
Oh.
everything he said, you couldn't believe. And the whole thing about the Joker in that film in The Dark Knight was that he was just, a loose cannon. Nobody knew what he wanted. And well, I mean, we kind of do. We kind of understand what he wants, but he's always making a second guess what he's going to do. And
Yeah.
I think he honestly did a great job. And
Oh
no,
no.
he did not commit suicide because of the role. That's not true either. The actor who played him. That is false information.
Oh,
He,
did he commit suicide? I thought he.
he
I
just
thought.
had a drug overdose. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
it wasn't suicide, but people are saying he committed suicide because he got such in the headspace of the role.
Hmm.
And I don't think people understand that that's not how anything works.
Well, I know he did. He did the whole like took time to the method acting, took time to get
Oh
into
yeah,
the headspace, but yeah,
it
I don't know.
didn't like it wasn't
I
so much that he lost himself in the role. Like Jay or was it Jared Leto said he did?
maybe.
Jared Leto,
I
I know
don't.
there was a
I try to stay
situation.
away from the Jared Leto Joker.
He said that he was sending stuff to his colleagues, like weird, like he sent a dead squirrel to Harley Quinn's, the actress who played Harley Quinn. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
cool.
that's
You are really overdoing it and
that's
trying
weird.
too hard. Yeah, it's weird, but it's not.
It didn't even work out well.
Yeah, no, it didn't because you got kicked from Birds of Prey. Although I would have loved to see you in Birds of Prey because holy cow.
I did not.
Holy cow.
I have not seen Birds of Prey,
Oh boy.
but I have heard rave reviews.
Rave is definitely a word I would use.
Yeah, I'll,
But
I'll
we're
prob
not here to talk about bad DC movies. We're talking
no
about
no,
good ones.
which means we can only talk about one.
Aquaman?
Oh yeah, Aquaman. Yeah, that was good.
Aquaman is ironically hilarious. I absolutely love it because it's just so stupid.
The Aquaman is fun.
Yeah, no, it's a fun movie.
No, like uh Justice League and Batman v Superman are like dark and irredeemably like frustrating because
Yeah,
they're bad and they're not fun. But
right.
Aquaman is like the Fast and the Furious movies. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous, but
yeah,
it's
actually,
fun.
you're absolutely right. That is how I would describe that movie. It's just Fast and Furious, but underwater. Like,
Right.
it's just like that scene where they're fighting in the Coliseum and all the people who are reacting to like they're fighting. Do you know they're not in the arena? How are you seeing them fight?
It yeah, it just
It's so stupid.
I liked seeing Willem Dafoe because I like him.
Willem Dafoe is a great actor.
He's one of
Uh,
my top
go
10.
careful.
I'll go with that.
Top 7. We want him on the show.
Yeah.
We want him on the podcast.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe, come on our podcast.
I was about to say Robert De Niro. That's the wrong actor.
Robert De Niro, you can come too.
You too. You get what you deserve. You get on the podcast.
You get what you deserve.
I think now is a good time to get into spoilers, I guess, then.
Oh, I had something, but
Oh, did you?
I've
Okay, go for
totally
it.
lost it. Oh wait, I have it.
Uh,
Okay. So a criticism I keep hearing about this movie is
go for it.
that and this we can remain kind of spoiler free, is that there is no way that this guy, it, Alec Fleck, is the Joker that we see in The Dark Knight.
He isn't.
And
Yeah,
there's
no.
no way he could ever defeat Batman or even challenge him.
Well, as to your first point, No, I never thought that was the case at all. I didn't think that he was trying to. This is supposed to be totally different. It's not supposed to be part of the Dark Knight trilogy. Um, and if it was, then that's stupid for several reasons.
Right.
There's so many reasons I could tell you why it's not, and people are still gonna say, "It could be." No, no.
So then, what about the second point?
The second point, that's an interesting one. I did actually read. I was looking through reviews because I want to make fun of some of them. One of them did say like the movie doesn't make sense because by the time that Bruce Wayne is old enough to fight crime, the Joker would be around 70. And I think what people are realizing is that they assume that this Batman is going to be, like in his 30s, which I guess kind of does make sense with all the other Batmen. Um, but
Yeah.
there are younger there than other universes. There are younger Batmen, um, and I could picture maybe like 25 Batman. Take a shot for every time I said Batman in that sentence. But there is definitely, I would definitely say that is definitely one thing I would question. But there's always been a dynamic where the Joker has been older than Batman. Like that's always just been a thing in the comics, and I'm sure over time he'd learn, how to be, how to just let himself go.
Yeah.
Uh,
I can believe that. I'm not a fan of that criticism. For one, I don't
because
think
well, I
I
can't
don't think
really
he
say why
needs.
because it's spoilers. So I guess I kind of have to start with spoilers right now because I kind of want to touch up on that.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
All right, so
Spoilers from
spoilers
here on
here.
out. We
If you
we
care about our rating, here is what I give it. I give it 75
out of.
Loof balloons. All right, what do you give it?
Um. I'd probably give it. I'd probably give it an 8.5.
What?
An 8.5.
8.5 out
Yeah.
of spaghetti. Got it. All
What
right,
was
perfect.
your? Okay. Yeah.
No, I don't. Remember, we don't have a legit rating system.
Of course. No. I will not allow that.
Rating is overrated. Uh-oh. That means, wait, rating is overrated. That means it's past the rating system.
All right.
All right,
We have
that's the last
transcended
joke.
ratings here.
Yeah, we've transcended rating.
Hmm.
I hope that joke was the last thing that would kick you off this podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
But if you
If
have
you
seen the
made it this
movies,
far, I'm sorry that you clearly don't have a girlfriend or a job. And
maybe you're listening on your job. Thanks for listening.
oh, there you go. If we can help you get through the workday, by all means, man.
Anything, man.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that. Help you get through those days, man. Especially the long days. If this is helping you out, by all means, absolutely stay.
Absolutely. We're here to help. Give me a
Hmm.
kiss. Mwah.
We're gonna, as you can tell, we're gonna really get into the nitty gritties of this. Like we are
We're
so
definitely not going to go on a random tangent about
there's
J.R.R. Tolkien being
real
dead and you dead
there's
corpse.
there's so no tangents at all. Like we are laser focused here.
Okay,
All right.
but back on track. So yeah, spoiler talk from here on out. Um, one thing I would have to say is that we don't really get to see by the end of the movie. We do see, him like covering his face with blood. At this point, the revolution. So the whole time through the movie, for you who don't know, who stayed for some reason, the revolution starts, and basically Arthur is seen as like this big image. He's the guy who started this all. When in reality, he was just trying to protect himself. He wasn't trying to start a movement. He was just protecting himself. At least for the first two. The third guy is questionable. But at this point in the film, we've basically lost Arthur Fleck. We no longer know who he is. He's basically died as a person. Like that's the harsh reality of the film is that we've been cheering for Arthur to become a better person and change, and by the end he changed, and we're like, oh shit, we fucked up. He was supposed to be that. Wait, that's
Yeah. Wait.
not where I wanted that to go. So I can picture him becoming someone like the Jokers in the comics. I can picture him, becoming this like mad, insane, but well calculated man. Like he clearly knows what he's doing, even for the brief glimpse we saw when he killed the two people in his house. Like he was doing it in a comedic way, especially the shorty. where he literally let Shorty leave, but like had the lock on so he couldn't reach it.
Yeah, that was
That was
that
genuinely
that
funny.
that was entertaining, and I felt almost weird laughing at it because I was like, huh, that's an interesting change in tone, but it fits. Like,
Yeah, it fits the character.
yeah,
Um, and I would say, even then, he gives a genuine laugh about that scene. Like Arthur, he literally like gives a literal laugh, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
yeah, he's recovered very quickly.
Yeah, he thinks that's hilarious too, and I'm like, huh, that's weird.
And as we said before, he lets him go because he was said he was always nice to him. And I think
Yeah, and
that's a big part of the film, definitely.
yeah, and then so now that we're in the spoiler, so what I'm saying about that thing is I definitely can see him becoming it. I can see why people are saying it because they don't really show much of it. They show like one or two scenes, but I think that'll be enough to get across the point of, yeah, he's gone. We've lost Arthur. Arthur is no longer, it's just the Joker now.
Right.
We
I,
see him literally change.
I'd definitely say it doesn't seem like he needs to become the Joker that would be able to defeat or rival Batman.
Yeah,
There's one thing I read was someone said maybe he's just like inspiration for someone else, like someone else who's like part of the rioting to become
I
that
could see that.
Joker. And I think that makes sense because
Especially you could be the guy who killed the Wayne's parents. That's definitely because a lot of times in the comics, or there is highly suggested that he is the guy who killed his parents. Like in the comics, that's one of the big theories that goes around, but ultimately not true. But it could be. It would be
right.
it would be interesting to see.
Yeah,
Plus, at the
I
end of the
think there's a
by the end of the movie, we do see Arthur Fleck is well, he's in captivity. He's in Arkham Asylum basically,
right.
which most people are like, well, fuck. That means none of this mattered.
Right. I don't think I'd conclude that. It seems like
Yeah, no,
there's quite a few points in the movie where you could jump off and say, okay, this is probably where it started becoming a dream. I think it's and people compare this movie all the time to Taxi Driver and King of Comedy,
yeah,
which is
kind of
unfortunate.
true.
I
I
don't
would agree it's unfortunate. I think it's our current day version of those movies, is what I would call it.
I
Something that's
watched
made for the climate of the times.
I watched both of those after watching Joker, and I there's a few, things that are similar,
Very similar.
but I don't think it is fair.
It's both. They're all character studies of very similar ideals, but they all have a different type of end.
Well, I think the way that I think you would have to paint with a very broad brush if you were going to try to say that they are very similar or even like, copies or something. Because
Absolutely,
I think it's pretty far apart. Like
there are a lot of differences between the
for
movies.
example, if I said like a group of unlikely heroes band together to defeat evil, it's like,
Yeah,
oh, well, in that
you're talking about
case,
Fantastic Four from 2014.
no, no,
I don't even think that's when that came out. Sorry.
I'm sorry.
When is go yo keep going. I'm double checking before I get called out for being wrong.
About the year,
2015. I was 1 year off. 1 year
2015.
off. I was so
Yep,
close. Sorry guys. All right, you feel
fantastic.
free to rail me in the comments.
I thought that movie was called Fantastic Flop.
That was called Fantastic Four.
Hmm.
Yeah. What?
Not
Why would it not
Fantastic
be?
Flop?
Oh, ho, 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 ho,
See, you
ho,
got to think about that one, I guess.
ho, 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 ho.
But anyway, it's
Fantastic waste of time. We're like.
yeah, pretty much. I'd say waste of money, but I didn't see it, so
Oh, good, good, good. Anyways,
I'm
go ahead.
there.
You were saying
But anyway,
about
I'd say it's very different than those other two to a pretty,
yeah,
at least
I
to a
would
pretty big
agree.
degree. And
Just because a movie is similar to another movie doesn't mean you should automatically compare the two. Like each movie will do something different, and I don't think it's fair of someone to be like, "Oh, this is just this movie," Like you
right,
could do that for like I don't even think you could do that for horror movies. I would say one that's a big one. It's just like, "Oh, it's just this concept but done here." And that could be the case in some of them, but most of the time when you see a movie, don't just go in assuming you're gonna see something you've already seen before. Come in with
right.
an open mind.
And plus, I don't think that. immediately invalidates it. A lot of the videos I saw, they kind of imply that it's like, oh, it's just like this other movie, so not good. And it's strange
Yeah,
because those other two movies are very highly regarded,
yeah,
which I
and
I,
because
I was
this,
iffy on Taxi Driver, but I really liked King of Comedy. But
I've
anyway,
heard only good things about King of Comedy, and Taxi Driver has my favorite quote of all time, which is "You talking to me."
ah,
That's just a great one. It's
quality.
a good quote.
Hmm. But
Um, yeah, no, I
yeah.
definitely think it's not important to do something like that. I think it. Oh, hey, actually, hold on. Here we go. I have a review right here that does. It talks about exactly what you're talking about.
Ah, excellent. Now
Um,
everyone knows I wasn't
Joker.
lying.
Joker is something of a, well, they use a inappropriate word that describes a group of people, so I'm not going to say it. Um, of the themes of from Taxi Driver with visual cues from the King of Comedy, Robert De Niro has a supporting role in Joker, so it's okay. But set in the Batman universe, it is a lowbrow movie parading as a highbrow one,
Pandering?
and is parading
Okay, parading.
parading as a highbrow one, and is ugly and mean spirited at times, but is also entertaining on a visual level, and Joaquin Phoenix's performance is top notch. Um, oh, he put he posted it twice.
Oh, nice.
He posted it once and then reposted that exact same thing again, but like,
If he gets to 1,000 subscribers, we'll do these live, and then we'll have chat to interact with, and it'll be a good time. So that's your goal. Tell your friends. 1,000 subscribers. It seems as though my co-host has been vigorously murdered. It's a tragedy, really. I don't know how we're
okay.
gonna. Oh, good, he's alive. All right. Oof.
Were you talking without me?
Yeah. I was talking
Oh,
to the audience.
okay.
We
Well,
heard what sounded like a screaming.
that was me. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. We
yeah.
assumed your death. I'm happy to
Uh,
see you're still here though, because I
um,
honestly don't know how the show would go on without you. Or
or you.
right. I told them that if you get to 1,000 subs, we'll do these live, and then we'll have a chat to interact with. So watch your sub
Oh,
count.
oh, that's definitely gonna work. Oh yeah, oh, I'd watch my subs go up then. All right.
Yeah.
This
We'll
might
we'll
actually help. This
we'll
might actually
even.
make you lose subs what I'm about to read, but here we go. This is another review by the name of Diego.
Okay. What's
Half a
do?
star. Terrible. Watch Suicide Squad instead. Better Joker.
All
Oh
right.
God, this movie sucked.
All right.
I'd love to jump out of a window. Ooh woo.
Mhm.
Whispers. Misspelled, by the way. Whispers. Senpai notice me. Jumps out of window for Senpai Jared Leto to notice me.
All right. So you
Would you
so
like to
you've
dissect that?
you've learned we've learned as a community that everyone's allowed to have their own opinions, and there aren't, and
Yeah, yeah. Blah 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 blah.
I would argue that we live in America where people have the freedom to be wrong about stuff. And Diego, you keep it up, man. I thought it was
Uh,
funny.
I mean, I was about to say, are you sure you're going to argue that we live in a? Are you sure that's where we live?
Well, that's where I live. I don't know about
That's what,
anyone else.
that is true. Thank
If
you,
we, if
person from Kenya.
if we have international
I do.
viewers,
I do have one.
become a member on his channel, and
Jesus,
or
stop
no,
pandering.
when we go live, send us a super chat in a different
Oh my
currency.
god.
We'll like it.
We'll
We
be
read
like,
all.
wow, what does that equal? And that equals $1. Oh.
No, it's fine with us. We read all super chats.
Wow, way to fucking take over my channel.
Well, you've been at this for years. How many subs do you have?
Oh, good. You know what? You got me there. Maybe
Yep,
this is exactly what I
there you go.
needed.
Yep, some management.
Um, let's see. This movie is not only horrible but socially irresponsible. You may have given psychopaths everywhere impetus and murder because life isn't fair. Jared K.
All right, Jared.
No, Jared.
All
Go back
right,
to Subway.
Jared.
Go back to Subway, Jared.
it, I, that doesn't seem fair to me.
All right, back to spoilers and let's go back to themes real quick since I think that might be a good way to wrap up. How long have we been recording?
We're at 40 minutes right now.
Oh, that's pretty good actually, more than I thought. Um,
Yeah, we're killing it.
I hope just like how Joker killed those three people in the subway station. Bayo, heyo.
Yeah. So there's that's an interesting point in the movie. That's when it gets
That's the
exciting.
breaking point. That's the
Yeah,
breaking point. Yeah.
he's
Uh, go
he's
ahead.
got his disability, right, where he laughs kind of uncontrollably, generally at inappropriate times. And
And I'll talk about that in a second. Sorry,
right, oh no. So
I have a whole thing
he
about that.
yeah.
Yeah. So it being a disability, beginning of the movie is correct. I definitely think it is a disability. Kind of like ADHD and ADD and whatnot. And it was during the 70s, so that type of thing wasn't really common practice, I guess. People who had mental disabilities were seen as just outsiders.
I
These
think it's
people
in the
aren't
80s.
normal. It's a 70s, 80s, kind of like in between,
Okay.
is what I got from the film. And the whole thing about him having the laugh is to be like, all right, that's just another thing on top of everything else. But when we learn later, it's not just it's not like ADHD or ADD. It's just something that's happened to affected him throughout his entire life. Like we learned that he laughs because he was abused and beaten a lot when he was younger, um, and that kind of forced him to put on this smile, this happy face. It's not. It's hard to say. I don't know much about mental disability, even though I personally have ADHD. Um, I know about mine. I don't know about others very well. And I'd say that at some point I would think he realizes that's not his disability, but rather that's just who he is. It's just a scar, on his life.
Are you implying that he established that naturally? Because I was kind of under the impression, because he was like beaten as a child. That's like part of the plot point at the
Yeah,
hospital.
I think that's natural. Like
So
he built it because of that whole beating.
ah,
Like he
I
didn't
thought
have it originally.
I thought that was like a side of like maybe like brain damage or something caused by the.
No, that's what I'm saying. Basically, what it is
Oh,
is
okay.
that not just brain damage, but like just that it was a coping mechanism,
Oh, okay.
and he keeps using it because it's the only thing he has to cope with himself.
Hmm.
Um, and but
I
sorry, I want to get into that. I think you can. It's very loose on what you want to decide if it is or not. But
yeah, I don't know if I subscribe to that thought necessarily, but I can see it. Yeah,
the
that
movie is very loose. It's possible to interpret things like that,
right.
and
And
that's another thing I like about it.
this is definitely one of the movies where they don't seem to have definite answers to everything.
And some people might be upset with that. Some people be like, well, why would I watch it if there's no complete story? And
Well, it's fun to speculate. I don't know. I always just try to kind of be reasonable, like,
yeah,
it's not
don't take wild assumptions and then take them as facts because you decide it was a fact.
right. No, I try to
I
come up
mean,
with stuff
I like
just based on evidence and you know
that's what I was trying to do. Yeah,
nothing outrageous.
you shouldn't just be like Arthur Fleck's gay. And you're like, well,
That's why he
that
laughs,
yeah.
because gay also means happy. Ooh,
Oh, that's what it meant back in the 80s.
right,
So yeah, so you're saying so we're talking about the three people getting murdered in the subway station.
right. So
That is the tipping point.
it's like three guys. They're drunk and they're harassing a girl. Is it?
Yes,
And then
yes, there
he's
has to. Well, I hope it's a girl.
yeah.
Gays in the 80s.
And he ends up, he starts laughing as he does, whether
Right.
for disability. And so before he can like get out his card that explains what's going on, they start beating him up, and he's got the gun on him at this point. It is given to him by
Yeah,
one of the other clowns,
he
and
was given to by the guy he ends up killing by the end of the film.
yeah, and he
Sorry.
well, he's getting beat up by like these three guys, and so he shoots one that's like while he's beating him up, and
Mm,
then like the other two back away immediately, as one would when you realize you're fighting someone who has a gun. And then he
yeah,
shoots the second guy, and then the third guy starts running away, and he chases him down. So it's it's kind of interesting because when he shoots that first guy, you're like, you know, you're kind of like, yeah, at, that was deserved practically. But then when he hits the second one, you're like, all right, maybe not. And then he chases the third guy down, and you're like, ooh, we're a
I
bit
think
past self-defense now.
I would agree with that actually. I have a friend from overseas, and we talked about this movie, and that was one of the things that she brought up to me that I thought was very interesting. I just took it as him just defending himself, hiding all evidence, doing what he could to not have any witnesses,
Right,
because I thought he was just like going like that would make the most sense. But then I realized, oh wait, hold on, he's not a maniac, intelligent killer. He's just he's got he's lost it. He's angry and he's confused and scared.
Right.
Like, and I think that scene itself, I went to go see it with a friend, and he was during the entire film curled up in like a curled up position, waiting for him to kill someone. And when he does, my friend was like, please stop, I hate this." Like, it's terrifying. It's a terrifying scene.
Yeah,
Like,
it's pretty
in the back of
intense.
your mind, you want him to shoot them because you're like, you have the right, and they are bothering you, and you already had enough shit to deal with. These guys are, yeah, these guys deserve it. And then he like, then you're like, oh wait, no,
Right. Well,
wait a
it's
minute.
when someone's down, and it's good to see them push back, but this is definitely what I would call too far,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
with the third
And
guy.
yeah, I think the third guys would definitely push it for her. She was like, yeah, no, that's a sign that he's like, he has to. The fact that his one incident became a movement just explains a lot. Like everyone else is killing just out of hatred, and anger. Just they're committing riots and crimes in the streets because they're tired of being subjugated. But he was just trying to get by. Like that's literally all he was doing.
Yeah, and it
That whole he was just trying to go home. He wasn't trying to start anything. He didn't want to start a movement. I think Joaquin himself had said something along the lines of he was just the guy who was in the wrong place at the right time, or
yeah.
something like those. Let me go find it.
Uh,
Oh, here we go. Todd Phillips described Joaquin Phoenix's take on Arthur as a guy who is searching for identity who mistakenly becomes a symbol. And I think, yeah, that's the best way to describe what happened.
mhm. And he says in the movie, because like people are dressing up as clowns for the
Yeah,
like in for the riots or the revolution, and
yeah,
then when he goes on the Murray Franklin show, dressed up as a clown, they people are asking him like, "Are you doing this in support of the riots?" And he's like, "No, no, I'm not political. It's
yeah.
just what I do."
This is just who I am.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
and I definitely think I definitely see a hint of the Joker character that we know and love in that whole scene of him dissecting, of him telling like basically what happened and what's going on when he's
right.
on the Murray show. I definitely see the cracks. He's telling jokes that are inappropriate and he's spouting stuff. He says at the beginning he doesn't want to get political, but by the end, he's literally telling a message saying, "Hey, fuck you, Arthur Wayne.
Arthur
You
Wayne.
you you ruined everything for me. What?
Arthur Wayne.
Did I say Arthur Wayne? Sorry,
You did.
sorry. There's a whole plot point about how Arthur might be a legitimate child of uh, the Wayne that's in this movie. Not Bruce, but the other Wayne. I
Uh,
remember.
Thomas.
Yeah, Thomas Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and how that's a whole thing. But Thomas, he basically says by the end of it, "Fuck you, Thomas Wayne. You've ruined everything. Everyone's in shit, and it's your fault because you just don't get us. You
Well,
don't
yeah.
understand what we've been through."
That's kind of the thing too, because we come to find out those three young men he murders are like employed for Thomas
Yeah,
Wayne, and they're all
yeah.
like probably not rich, but like they're very well off. They probably came from a very nice family,
Yeah,
and they have very good jobs, pay really well. Like the
but
modern equivalent of like working at Google or Apple.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And now people are outraged, because
Right.
oh, these three people died. And I think that's important to know. He even says that during the speech. He says, if it was me on that sidewalk who died, you just walk right past me.
Right. Absolutely. And it's
And that's
like
once again back to the whole theme of notice people. The fact that he feels like that.
absolutely, and like I don't know, like he has this job. He's a clown, like in the beginning of the movie, and
Right
from what we know of it, like he seems because we have the scene of him like dancing
at the
with
hospital.
at the children's hospital, and he seems like he's
Ooh.
good at it. Like
Yeah, he seems to really genuinely bring joy to people, and he seems to be having fun while he's doing it.
yeah,
And then the gun happens. That
right.
scene was so tense.
Oh my God, I
I
yeah,
I literally was shaking. There are so many good scenes in this film. Like I honest to God love some, like I could watch those scenes over and over again. Um,
it,
like everything about just Joaquin, just when he's dancing by himself, I feel like, oh, I feel weird and gross, but it
yeah,
feels good to watch.
it's it's an interesting experience. I don't I really enjoyed it. I think it's really well put together. I don't. That's not. It's not really like a movie that I would personally like put on
Oh, absolutely not.
generally. Like,
It's not a movie that you would just turn on and be like, haha, popcorn movie.
right, like I've only seen it the one time, and I don't like really have a huge desire to watch it again, but it's absolutely very good.
I think I've seen it 3 times. So I'm gonna go see it twice. I'm gonna see my dad and my friend, and then I'm gonna go see it with another friend. Um, but I enjoyed every experience every time. It was a very good experience every time. Um, and I definitely
Just
think if you got this far without, but listen, spoilers, didn't touch on a lot. So there's still stuff for you to find in the movie, even if you didn't watch it yet. Um,
absolutely.
there's a lot of scenes where you question what's real and what's not. There's a lot of there's some stuff in there that I to say is a little questionable. I guess you want to talk about the girl. How do you feel? How do you feel about the girl?
um I think
Like
she
that whole thing.
I I don't really I the girl is obviously her purpose is to be
A red herring.
well, I'd say the idea is because he uses her like after he kills the three guys, she's like,
Yeah,
oh, they deserved it. So it's very much he's using her as like encouragement and justification, even though she's
absolutely.
artificial. It
Right.
works.
It's in his mind.
Yeah, and
Uh,
one of the criticisms I kept seeing is because we see her with him in multiple scenes throughout the movie, like when his mother's dying and like out at dinner. And then when it's revealed that it was on his imagination, they like re-show the scenes but without her to kind of
yeah,
let the audience know, and that was getting a lot of criticism, and I honestly don't know why, because it's like 10 seconds of the movie
I think it's
devoted to just showing
because
scenes. And
I think it's
I think there's value there. I don't know. There's a lot more time that could be wasted on a lot less important stuff.
yeah, I would agree. I think showing those scenes, and then if you even when you remember, a lot of those scenes are with him by himself. Sometimes there's like the scene when he goes to the hospital, like she's just kind of there, and you're like, well, that's kind of weird. I guess it makes sense that they're in a relationship. You'd be there if your mother was in the hospital,
Right.
and then when they're on the date, you're like, oh man, that's weird. She just left him to look at the sign. That's okay. That's weird. Like there's some hints, um, but at the same time, once you realize it, you're like, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I definitely liked that scene because that was a scene when I first saw it. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's quite
and and
it
uh,
really
the other
takes you
interest,
on a journey, that
the
movie.
other interesting thing is that people assume that he kills her, and I'm like, no, no,
Oh,
he
I don't think
doesn't. I
so.
don't. No, absolutely not, because he only kills people who have wronged him. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, and she
He's
hasn't done
only
that.
no, she didn't. He manifested her, and she didn't wrong him. He didn't. He did nothing.
Mhm.
There's nothing that they did. So it's not her fault. He just, Plus, I mean, she's got a kid. Don't fucking.
Yeah, I don't think
He
you do that.
at this point he still has some morality.
I'd argue his morality is like fairly solid. Like it's
Yeah.
just, you know,
He only attacks
it's
the
just to
people
the
who
extreme.
he feels. Yeah. He only
Right.
attacks people who he feels is someone who attacks him.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I definitely think there's a lot that we haven't talked about in this film, but I feel like that is a good point for people who haven't seen the film and then still got this far. And for
Yeah,
those of you who did, we want to let you know, thank you. It's great.
yeah, there's plenty of other interesting bits. Like the big climax is when he's on the Murray Franklin show and we get to see a little bit into how the characters feel about each other. And then there's also like a couple scenes with that social worker. I think
Oh my god, social work is great.
I think she's a bit interesting because she's like explaining to him like funding's getting cut, losing his medication. She's like they don't care about us, dude. Like
Yeah,
it's
no.
kind of her opening up,
For 1 second, for one brief moment, she opens up to him,
right?
because he tells her, "You don't care about me. You don't fucking care. You just tell me the same shit over and over again,
Right.
and nothing changes."
And I like that little detail that like that's a common complaint among like real people and therapists. But what I like about it is she's not a therapist. She's a social worker. Like she's not
Yeah,
qualified for this at all. So she's just
you
kind
know,
of like doing her best with minimum to no education on the subject. And
absolutely. And the whole thing about the film, remember, it's set in a time where this wasn't really concerned about. If you had any mental problems, you were get thrown in the asylum, basically.
right,
It's at a time in
or just
history where,
ignored and
yeah,
looked down
outcasts.
upon. Yeah.
Yeah, and I definitely think this film handles the subjects very well. And don't get me wrong, there are still things I don't think are great, which I didn't really don't think I really covered on. Definitely think there are some like bad shots in here and there. There are some like weird things you notice that I feel like are just a little off. There's some ads that play in the film that don't take place until later in to the canonical world, which it's minor complaints like that. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know,
What do you mean
if you
by
know
that?
that's there's apparently an ad for the Duracell bunny at one point in the movie. I don't remember exactly,
Oh.
but that character didn't exist until the 1988. Or there's like a police car that doesn't exist until like 1987.
Okay. Uh, the gun he has, I think, is a revolver or a six shooter,
Only
and
holds
he,
6 bullets.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
think he fires off
it only holds six
nine,
bullets. He shoots 8 shots.
8 shots. Okay.
Yeah, 8 shots and 6 bullets. And criticism could just be, oh, it's taking place in his mind. We don't know what's real or not.
Right.
And to that I say no.
I think
Even
it
that,
was just a mistake on the filmmaker's part.
I don't like the idea that you can just write away any problem with the film with oh, it's a story in his head. We don't know what's real or not.
Right.
I don't think that's defense of the problems in this film.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think that
Uh,
might be an easier defense for this film than others, but no,
yeah,
I'm definitely okay with a little logistical error like that. Okay, so he kills the third guy,
yeah.
and then like while he's laying on the ground, then he like shoots a couple more shots afterwards into his
Mhm.
already dead body. Am I right, or am I imagining that?
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so it's like it's one of those things where it nothing really would have changed if those extra shots really weren't there. Like if he still tried to fire again and it just clicked, like you would still understand what's happening. Like he's still enraged and he's like trying to burn off some steam.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm reading through like all the incorrect things that this film happened. This one's some bullshit. When Arthur is taking a smoke break outside the hospital and the detectives confront him, that's a scene for when they confront him about the murders. Um, he gets up and tries to re enter the hospital, but the automatic door doesn't open. Arthur waves frantically at the motion sensor top of the door trying to get it open. However, motion sensor automatic bars, now common, were extremely uncommon in 1981. Uh,
Well, even if that's true, extremely uncommon. I mean, it's
oh,
at a
okay. Are
hospital.
you can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you the whole time. I
Oh,
thought.
okay. Sorry, I thought I lost signal. But yeah, no, that whole thing. I guess it would make sense for it to be in a hospital. I mean, hospitals were pretty state of the art. They needed to be.
Well, like you're like someone's dying, you got them on a stretcher, you're wheeling them in. It makes the most sense to have the automatic sliding door then.
Yeah. So I don't get that. That's a stupid criticism.
Like yeah, I would agree. If I don't know, but if it is uncommon, I think yeah, uncommon isn't good enough there, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's stretching a bit too far. Um, let's see. Revealing mistakes. That like some of this is just stupid. Like there's the sign with everything must go breaks a second before it hits Arthur. Like, yeah, if you go
That
frame by
that's probably
frame,
true. It was a
yeah,
like
they're not gonna hit. Yeah,
they're using props, so it's most likely that it was something really light, like a like styrofoam or something. So it
yeah,
probably just broke because he of him like, you know, waving it
but
so quickly.
when you watch the film, you don't notice that, and it's just like, oh
I
well,
I
I
generally
didn't
don't
notice it
use
at
that
least.
excuse.
I mean, yeah, you should try to perfect your movie. You shouldn't try to cut corners and just like make things look as close to realistic as possible.
Right.
But if it's something that I can barely notice, then I'm not gonna start going, oh,
Yeah.
um,
I guess it just depends for me
yeah,
at least, like how much it changes the stakes of what's happening. So if I was swinging something at you and like it broke, but then that piece is still hitting him, so it's like okay, y- it
yeah, no,
it's not the Last Jedi disappearing knife, like you know.
the what? what?
Oh, the knife that disappears.
Oh shit, that's right. The
Do you,
stupid
okay.
fucking
Yeah.
like magic MacGuffin knife to
It,
show them where the Death Star's at.
no, 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 no. In The Last Jedi,
Oh,
when Kylo and Rey, both great characters by the way, this are fighting the guards, the Praetorian guards or whatever. Rey's
yeah.
fighting one and he has two knives, and for a scene like they get their arms interlocked or something, and his other arm goes behind her back, but then when it emerges, the knife that was in his hand is gone,
Oh,
and it's
huh.
like it, it
Isn't that whole fight like just fucked up? Like at one
the whole
point
fight the whole fight
she
is
kicks,
awful.
uh, she puts her leg out to kick, and all three of them fall down.
Yeah,
And like,
if
there's
you
one guy who's just spinning around.
yeah, one guy's spinning randomly. All
He
of
goes
their
spoon.
swings are incredibly telegraphed, and
Like he
the
attacks his lightsaber when he puts it in the ground when he should be going for his head.
right,
Also, why are they fighting?
they're constantly swinging at their
James,
weapons,
James,
and
stop.
why are they
James,
fighting?
stop. James, stop. This is for episode 5. We'll talk about the trilogy.
Oh, okay.
Episode 5, we'll talk about the trilogy. I know you
If
want to talk about it,
if you're curious about the lightsaber fight, go watch Shadiversity's dissection of it. It's very good, and it's like
or
2 hours long.
you can watch our episode 5 podcast where we talk about the entire trilogy.
You should watch both, because we
Yeah,
are
watch
not
both.
gonna. I am not going to get into that fight scene well enough because I am not knowledgeable enough on medieval weaponry and fighting.
Yeah, it is medieval. It takes place in. Why are we talking about Star Wars?
They're
We're joking.
using
Stop
melee
it.
weapons. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Here's another good one. Arthur Fleck steals his mother file from the clerk from the mental hospital. He races down the hallway and turns towards the stairs. You can see the stuntman's face for a split second. Clearly not Joaquin Phoenix. Like fucking.
Okay.
Like
There's
yeah, sure, but like really.
I rewatched Lord of the Rings recently. There's a scene
Of
when
course you did.
yeah, it was with some friends. Merry and Pippin in the second movie when they're running away from the fight that's happening between the Rohirrim and the orcs in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
They're like running into the forest. They're wearing it's I don't know who is doing the acting, but they're wearing boots, and the hobbits don't ever wear shoes in the movies. They're always barefoot.
Oh
So make of that what you will.
yeah, it's.
I'd say stuntman probably, but I don't really know why they would need that.
Yeah.
Maybe a
There's.
reshoot.
Oh yeah, let's go remake the original trilogy. That's something
Yeah,
with
we should.
fans.
That is something that can only go well.
But so, with that being said, what time are we at, James?
We are at an hour 4 minutes.
I think that's a. Do you think that's a good spot stop out or stop at for the whole overall?
I think so. We can. Well, we'll probably take a couple minutes to wrap up. Is there anything else that we think we missed?
With Joker wise, no. I was gonna do a quickie real quick on something that just recently came out.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, and not really a quickie, more like just discussing it. I would like to talk about it with you real quick, just like a closing topic
Sure.
before before we close for the night.
Is it something I saw or?
Oh, I'm sure you've seen it. Um, it's about Disney's new movie Onward.
Oh, I have not seen it.
Have you heard the news that there is a gay character in it?
I did not hear that there is a gay character, which is odd because that seems like something I'd hear about.
Did you hear that there were a gay cop character?
A gay cop?
A gay cop character, James.
As in
Did
a
you hear,
gay police
James?
officer character?
Yeah, a gay police officer character. James, would
Okay.
you also like to know what type of species they are, James?
Um, are they like trolls or goblins or something in that?
You got it, James. It is a troll. It is a fucking gay troll cop.
Gotcha.
And there is one line of dialogue of her saying that she has a girlfriend.
So Disney likes to do this thing where save it for
All I'm
episode
saying,
5. So Disney likes to do oh,
she looks
that's
like.
what she looks like. Okay.
Yeah.
Patrick, put a visual on screen. So
Please don't put a visual on screen. She's hideous.
so that comment wouldn't be appropriate. So there's this thing that Disney likes to do where they like to virtue signal in their movies,
Yeah, they try to force it in.
right? And it works and I'd say it works really well when it doesn't. It works for like the American audience because, we're very woke over here, as we are.
Not really, actually.
Well, I'd say
Uh,
there's definitely a good population. But my point is that
yeah.
I know for Rise of Skywalker, there's a split second where we see two female characters kiss, and it's like, oh, there we go, some representation. It's two characters that one character we hardly know, and the other one that I don't think we know at all. And the the bit where they kiss got edited out for
Jeez.
versions in other countries. So
And it's so. Are you even being like? What's the point then? Like, if
there is no
artistic
point.
integrity in films, what's
It's
that?
it's
Like,
it's just I want
the point
the
of
mouse
their
wants the
studio
buck.
is not to you know is to be as discreet as possible, but also try to appeal as many people as possible.
Absolutely. So, like, I don't know. I wish they'd just go for it. Like, I personally don't care for the representation as much. Like, I've always been able to relate to many different characters of, different genders and races and such. But, some people are really into the representation, so good for them. I think they should have it in movies.
I don't think they should.
No?
I am. I say you either go all the way or don't go at all because I know
Oh, I would say
it's
that's my
just to
point.
make
You should go all the way because like Disney prided
this
themselves
up.
on the fact that they're doing this, and then
Um,
they just, as soon as there's another market, they're like, oh,
that's
never
well
mind.
known on TV called Loud House.
Haven't seen it.
Okay, hold on, something's happening.
Okay.
Uh, so where was I at?
Uh,
Da, 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 da.
just
Oh yeah, go big or go home. So there's a movie or there's a show on the Nickelodeon right now called The Loud House, where there is a character who has two parents, well, obviously, but they're both dads, and they don't play it up. They don't go like, "Oh, look what we're doing! Look what we're doing! We did it! Whoa, woo! Support us! We did it!" Like, and I think there's a new movie coming out called Connected, where like one of the characters has just a pin that's a rainbow, like a rainbow pin, and like people are going crazy because they didn't like officially state anything. They're just like, oh hey, look, you can't really edit that out. Like they're fully embracing that idea. And if you're going to try to support a group, don't do it just to appease us. It's fucking just fucking do it all the way or don't do it at all. That's my belief. So fuck you, Disney.
I agree with that last part.
Yeah, especially with the also one more thing. That new Milan movie not being shown in China.
That new Mulan movie, they're editing out, or not editing out, they're rewriting, they're taking out Shang's character
Check out
because we
Shang.
are currently, the military general, the guy who
Yep.
sings the "Make a
Yeah,
Man
no,
Out
no,
of You."
no, no. I know. I'm aware. I was saying they're taking out him. They're taking out the dragon. They're taking out the music.
They're taking out him because Me Too movement, of course, having a love interest that is also a superior in your occupation is a big no-no.
Oh, jeez, I didn't even
And
think of that.
I can only assume that they're taking out the music as well.
Well, so here's my thing about the film. What made the original good was not because of how woke it was. It was just she just wanted to fight. You know,
Oh,
she's just another soldier who wanted to fight.
she's a
And it didn't matter
fantastic
who
character. No,
it wasn't.
she's there because we gotta love our strong female characters like Ray.
But the
But
whole
no,
thing
she's
about
good.
the whole thing about Mulan is that she's fighting even though she shouldn't be fighting, and even at the end of the movie, the one scene where the emperor is like, yeah, she's a girl, so she's fighting.
Right.
She protected my life.
Yeah. And she has
So
more I think she's more interested in protecting her family or protecting her father than fighting. And I don't know,
That's more
that's
interesting
awesome.
than just
That speaks
I'm old and
volumes
I want
about
to
her
fight.
character. That's way cooler than
Which,
Ray.
so,
I mean, Ray's
so here's
perfect,
my
but
question now: if the whole crux of the original movie was that she was a girl that wasn't supposed to be fighting because she is a female and that is unheard of, why the fuck in the remake is there a female witch that she has to fight? Are they suggesting that the villains are more progressive? Like, what the
then
fuck?
the big scary man. I don't.
I don't get it. Why take away everything that's good about the movie and then just relabel it? Like, the whole crux of that movie is about how she, fucking overcomes all the adversities and all the trials of you're a girl, you can't do this, and then she goes, yeah, I can, and literally shows it. In this movie, all I'm getting so far from the trailer is she's being suggested of how cool she is. We're getting another fucking Captain Marvel.
Right. No, it's just gonna be Batwoman. Like
What? Batwoman?
she's Batwoman, on the CW.
I
The
have
new
not
the
seen
new
that.
series. You should
I've not
watch
seen it.
it. I've been
I
watching
gotta
it
get.
and I
I gotta
love
get through
it.
13. I gotta get through 13 Reasons Why season 3.
Ah, well when you're done with that, if you want to watch something that's actually worse than that, watch Batwoman.
James.
No,
There was a whole episode where it was just about two people having sex.
no, you don't understand.
Oh God.
Batwoman is so incompetent. She's so terrible. She has a blatant disregard for human lives. People just like her for no reason. She's like
James.
Ray level of
She's
characters.
James. She's Batwoman. They want to
She
fuck her.
is. No,
Oh really? Isn't that
probably
like the
not.
Dark Knight movie
She.
where like there's just that weird awkward sex scene with Batman?
Yes.
Man, what a good movie.
There is a line where someone says, "This is the bat suit. It's perfect." And she replies, "It will be when it fits a woman."
No, no,
Yes.
that's not real.
This show is
James,
fantastic.
please,
No,
James,
you
please
don't
tell me,
understand.
please.
You don't understand how much I've enjoyed watching this show. You don't understand how
That's a
terrible the villain is.
stupid
That's not even the worst line.
line. Oh my God,
And
that's a pirated from somewhere.
now I feel like you want an example, but I'm struggling to think of one because it's just all so awful.
Well, I think that'll be a good point to leave our fans off on. Fuck
If
you,
you
Disney.
if you
Fuck you,
don't if you haven't watched Batwoman, watch Batwoman because it's so funny. And then and then watch Crisis on Infinity Earths. Even if you haven't seen any of the other shows, watch it because it is also funny.
I'm glad we are straying away from Joker and talking about wokeness.
We get to see a we get to see Smallville Superman give up his powers so that he can be with Lois Lane and live a simple life.
What?
We
Why
we
would you
get
give up being Superman?
we get to see a Batman that killed Superman for no reason.
But yeah, why would he kill Batman? He doesn't have any powers.
It's great. If you
uh,
have any investment in any of these IPs, maybe you shouldn't watch it. But I, who doesn't care, got a great laugh out of it.
that's awesome. All right, we're going off the rails. We need to cut the cord. We need to cut
All
the
right.
cord.
All right.
James, would you like to do the outro?
Nah, you show me how it's done.
Um. So check out our merch. Our
First, a word from our sponsors. Are you interested in the most ambitious mobile RPG of all time?
No, but anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been great. James, thank you for coming. We'll see
Yeah.
you next time we do this. We're hopefully gonna do this every month, or not every month. Jesus, that'd suck. Every 2 weeks or so. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, there you go. Every fortnight. That means two
Anyways,
weeks.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant every Fortnite update.
No, you see, Fortnite is a video game, or so I'm told, and it has ruined the definition of that word forever.
It has.
You
Anyways,
watch
so
you
yeah,
watch
so
Game of
we'll
Thrones, and they're like, "I will see you in a Fortnite," and just all these 13-year-olds start dancing, and I'm like,
all these 13-year-olds are doing orange justice.
just gonna have to do like an Anakin Skywalker moment. Just
But anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. I guess I don't care. You guys do whatever.
yeah, definitely sub 1,000 subs for live streams. A
We
million subs for
will.
nudes.
Jesus. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and bye bye.